Hello and welcome back to the channel. Lunaz here, and today I'll be continuing the Rimworld run. During the last episode, we continued our process of waiting for the monument, building it, and gathering supplies. And that process will be ending soon, within the next few days. I am ready to face off against an upcoming raid though. Not because there's one for definite coming, but because I believe there will be one due to lack of dangerous events. And I'm hoping that we should be able to hold out against them. But for the time being, we're mostly waiting. So there may be a couple of long cuts in the beginning of the episode, as there won't be much happening, I don't think. Sam's pregnancy has passed from the first to second trimester, so we will be switching from medicine production to sterile material research, in the hopes that by the time she is ready to give birth, we can replace the flooring for the kitchen hospital area, as I want to increase the chances of a good outcome. A quest soon becomes available, and it looks to be a attack on a pirate base. I'm not really interested in any of the loot or options though. Even with the honor, we don't exactly have the facilities to build a throne room at the moment, so we can't use it, I don't think. I'm not interested in the goodwill. And the psychic reader we could probably do without for the time being, as we probably can't even install it anyway. So we'll leave that. With mood being a little low on a couple of our bonds, I will do the okay, never mind. We ran out of time on the Jubilee. I'm going to do a real fiesta instead, although I will have to turn everything back on. And hopefully this will increase the mood. With Kiko being ill and our only doctor up, we need them pretty happy. The party is unforgettable, and the colony gains a plus 16 mood all around, which is great news. Tree's Goju's withdrawal has gone along further, and she only has 3 days left till full recovery, which is great news, as we will now have both our doctors up again, and another person to throw onto the front lines. Speaking of front lines, Crafter's Death Rest is nearing full completion, so we should be able to wake him up again within a day or two. And within a couple of hours, work is started on harvesting the cloth. With this, we should be ready to leave within a few days, as the rice is also nearing completion as well. Something I had neglected to properly check has come up. The first location I believed was in a temperate biome. It is not. It's in a Scarlands biome, which means there'll be very little wood, and both of the locations after that are in a desert. So we need to build up our chem fuel storage by a lot, and also have wood left over to increase that should we run low. So I'm going to unsuspend chem fuel production from wood, the larger bill, and we will also begin harvesting a lot of wood. There may be a large cut or two, as I know that's kind of boring, but it's something that needs to be done, otherwise the ship will be stranded on one of those maps. As we begin harvesting a lot of the wood, or coming to an end of it I should say, a bulk goods trader arrives. And we will trade with them with Shio, and hopefully they have a decent amount of stuff for us. We are going to sell a decent amount of supplies, that being the ship, despite having its storage capacity upgraded several times, is still nearing full capacity, so we will be aiming to sell off a decent amount of stuff to try and increase the space we have, and that includes cloth, as we have a fair bit more than we actually need. And in terms of supplies, we'll just be bulk buying things we don't necessarily need, but things that will add up, or we could do with later down the line. That should be fine, and should lower our wealth by quite a bit. We should have freed up some space by now as well. Just in case, I will upgrade the capacity yet again, although this will likely be the last time due to space issues. At least until we can afford to do a large-scale upgrade on the ship for more space and facilities. A number of Neanderthals arrive, which is not very good news for us. Tree is still down, with recovery in just under a day, so we will be relying on everyone else to deal with the raiders. We are going to have to rely on sniping them from range. Luckily we have a Psychic Soothe, which boosts the mood of all of our male colonists, which is something we actually desperately needed. In terms of the raid, there are two groups, which is lucky for us, as we will likely only have to deal with one group actually charging us. However, Neanderthals are pretty tough, and we haven't dealt with numbers like this before, so I'm a little worried that we may actually end up taking a fair amount of damage from this. That's one shot, one kill. Straight in the heart on a Neanderthal. Sam is actually taking them down pretty efficiently. So we have some of the other colonists move in to provide more firing support. Shio ends up taking a round from Sam, which isn't great news. We'll have our colonists retreat though as the raiders start attacking. Shio is in a fair amount of trouble though. Okay. We do need to rescue Shio, although I'm unsure whether we'll make it in time. No. We're another colonist down. And Crafter is somewhat injured. We should probably save our money up just in case we can get him back. Now these guys are coming in somewhat staggered, so I'm hoping we can actually deal with them as they come in, or at least have them start attacking the ship. I'm gonna have some of the colonists retreat and deal damage to multiple different targets. Croft has been downed basically immediately. Another colonist goes down after Crafter, and we are in pretty dire straits now. We will have the colonists gun down the rest of the raiders for additional XP, as we very much struggled to deal with those guys. And immediately after, a boomerloop does go mad, so that is another thing we need to deal with. Kiko is really the only person we can entrust to do this right now. And their shots land true. We'll have others help them, but we need to focus on replenishing our forces potentially. I have found a potential replacement for Shio, and I will have Lips haul them aboard. Kiko will be handling the tending for Sam and Crafter. Grey will be tended to next, because we're running out of time, and we generally need someone else who can help with melee, as Crafter alone isn't enough, especially against large groups of melee raiders, or against Neanderthals especially. He only took 2 hits before going down the first time, which is not something we can afford to keep happening. And while I understand Neanderthals are strong, the main reason we struggled so badly there was because Crafter went down so fast. So we need to have him increase his ability to fight. And then Crafter's tending will be worked on, and that should be fine. I will turn the prisoner into a hemogen farm, and set a temporary warden in the form of Lips until a tree is up, although that shouldn't take much longer. Unfortunately, we don't have Shio anymore, but that is something we'll have to get over, and we'll have to make sure we have the silver on hand to buy him back. I don't think it will be much more than 2k, but you never know with this game. Things scale. Something I'd completely overlooked is that gutworms have begun to affect the colony as well. So we will have to have Kiko tend to them as well. And I am hoping that nothing else happens now, due to the fact that quite a few negative events happened within a very short time. But we'll see. With so few people up now though, it will likely take a bit longer to be able to leave, or at least to be able to get the bare minimum of supplies we need. So we may leave early due to just needing to move on. As we still haven't hauled in any of the wood we harvested from several days ago. A good portion of the cloth field still needs to be harvested, and none of the wares we bought have been harvested, brought in either, I mean. In fact, I may have Lips work on that, by herself for the time being. Tree is finally up, although she does have a extreme break risk coming on. Her addiction has been beaten though, so hopefully her mood will increase naturally. But with no events we can rely on to boost mood, we will be waiting and hoping that nothing else happens. The party ends and we receive a small bonus of between +3 and 6 across all colonists, depending on how long they spent there. Tree equips her SMG again, and work on the field harvesting continues. A diplomacy quest becomes available, but I'm not interested in negotiating with tribals, so they will be left alone. Tree unfortunately goes back down again to a catatonic mental break, so she'll be down for a couple of days. Her SMG will be hauled back on the ship again as well. The prisoner, meanwhile, their condition seems to have stabilized, and we will be hopefully relying on recruiting them fairly quickly. Their resistance is 17, but it's not too high. The only issue is the cell doesn't seem to be the best quality, so it could make things take a little longer than it would normal to recruit them. Chem fuel storage has been brought up significantly though, and with a fair amount left to haul back on the ship, as well as a large amount of wood to haul back on the ship, we are looking at a decent supply. Grey luckily has a crisis of belief mental break, which means their belief has gone down in their ideology, making it most likely significantly faster to recruit them to ours, speeding up their recruitment process by quite a bit. Tree unluckily is in a catatonic though, so we won't be able to use her conversion ability for several days. Though I'm hoping Lips should be able to somewhat persuade Grey to lessen his belief in his own ideology, or her belief, I mean. The hauling work is slowly but surely coming along, with our colonists mostly coming back to full health. Sam, who took quite a beating, is still a decent amount injured, and with her pregnancy being in the second semester, she'll be very slow moving and probably not able to get much work done at all. I will be changing the bed rest to 2 though, in the hopes that I can get her to cook somewhat, as we have a bimalope to butcher and cook up, and simple meals to cook as well. Kiko also gets the flu, reinforcing what I'd said mere moments ago, and we will have to break out the Glitterworld medicine, as Kiko's ability to tend to themselves will have been significantly lowered, and we need the Glitterworld medicine to guarantee their health. I do end up having them accidentally use a second dose, so we'll pause it for the time being and keep an eye on their health and micromanage what they end up taking in terms of herbal medicine, Glitterworld medicine. The prisoner, meanwhile, has been converted, and we will now have their recruitment worked upon. the supplies are almost hauled aboard the ship, although with the constant diseases and people going down to different issues, we are taking a bit longer than I would have liked. And even with heading to the next map, we will likely have to wait a little bit before attempting the Gravcore quest, mostly due to extremely poor mood. Benito has a growth moment, and we will have him increase his medical skill, his mining skill, social, and plants. We also have him take the steadfast trait, as it will give him a good bonus to mood. And I do have plans for him to become a soldier, which is also why he has a light machine gun, despite being a child. But yeah. We're just having him learn the necessary ways of the Rimworld, as he will likely need it to survive and assist the colony. Lane sadly goes into a insane ramblings mental break, and if Kiko and Lips also go into mental breaks, the taking off of the ship could be somewhat considerably delayed. And just confirming our surroundings, we will be heading in the direction I had originally planned to take, with the ancient reactor being the first of the ship quests we'll be doing. We get grav nausea upon landing, and this immediately causes Lips to collapse when it's combined with food poisoning. The first order of business will be mining out some components nearby, and additionally we will be making several more suits of flak armor, as we need the protection across all of our colonists. With Lane being our crafter though, and them being in relatively good mood, we should not have too much of an issue. I am, while thinking about him, also going to use his transmute steel ability as well. And I get the resource I was hoping for, some plasteel. So we should not really be worrying about that as a resource for the time being. Especially with using a little bit on the flak helmets. We'll have Crafter clean the kitchen. And he'll get to reading. The hemogen production on Grey, I don't think is coming along fast enough to be able to feed Crafter indefinitely as well, due to the fact that Crafter already had very low hemogen with no packs available when we got our new prisoner. So I'm going to have a couple more hemogen packs extracted just to give him a boost. But that should be the last of the hemogen extraction we need to do for a while. I am actually going to strip Grey as well. there's a decent chance of him having a mental break, and his Neanderthals already have high tolerance to pain, and with the wooden wall mask it boosts that further. So I wanted to remove that just in case that ends up killing them if they end up having a mental break where they try to escape, as we're gonna have to use a lot of people to knock them down. As our colonists finally go outside to get the components, we come across a ancient danger, and a boghound immediately starts to hunt our colonists. So we're gonna have them fall back and group up a bit to deal with that threat. I'm not sure about doing the ancient danger as well. There could be people inside, but there could be a threat we can't deal with. I think if we're going to do it, it should be the last thing we do, especially due to the fact that we already have a prisoner we're trying to recruit. And we also very much need to increase our shooting stats still, and that's going to be the case for a while. And the quickest and safest way to do that is probably going to be dealing with this first. And then this, if I decide to do it. I found a good quality LMG that I'm gonna have Lane use. In terms of... never mind, I found Sam's legendary bolt action rifle. I was afraid that it hadn't been hauled on the ship due to the hauling issues we had after the Neanderthal fight, but no, Crafter must have done that while he was hauling back the raid stuff, the stuff we got from the raid. Right, Tree is now basically fully armored up. A toxifier generator research has been finished, likely from a book we had aboard the ship. And we will now look into the next research, which will likely be fabrication. We need to open up the way for more gravlite panels, and even if we get enough from this quest to make a small crafting room, that paves the way to unlocking a great deal more space for the ship very quickly, with only then the issue being plasteel, which shouldn't be too hard to deal with, especially if we were to get a long-range generator, or if we were to go to a plasteel asteroid. I would have liked Kiko to come along, but their health isn't exactly in the best shape, and we need to leave Tree behind to tend to them. Crafter will be going first, and the first thing we can see are a fair amount of drones. The others will push in and try and provide some suppressing fire. The sentries are barely able to make any dent in the armor, in the shield belt that Crafter is wearing, so this is very good news for us. Sam will hack into the uplink while everyone else heads to the next room. And we will have them fall back out of the room. Okay. So the hunter drone may be an issue. It doesn't do any damage. And we'll have our team head into the next area. There are 2 sealed crates which will open, containing around 90 gravelite panels, which are much needed. Just some steel in the next room, and with the group waiting on Sam for the uplink, we will have them detour for another room that doesn't contain a hacked door. Although it just leads into another area with more hacked doors. We'll have the team retreat out of the facility for the time being to save on their mood and to have craft attended to. Sam finishes the uplink sometime later and leaves the facility. Lips ends up getting caught up by one of the drones. So we'll have Sam return to try and... Sam and Lane return to try and flank it, and maybe work on pushing further in. Nice. Sam will look to hack one of the ship doors. One of the hacking doors. Blast doors. Sorry, I've been playing way too much Lethal Company. I keep, thinking about those ship doors. Kiko, I kind of want, actually, we'll have them continue their recreation. It's just Sam is so slow at the minute. Another hunter drone. Get out of there. Good job. Open component box. We'll now have Kiko and Tree head in. And Sam can go home. While Deadlift is here, actually, I'll have him join the group. And Crafter can actually come back as well, as we kind of need a point defense. Or an entry man, I should say. Kiko will get to work prioritizing the blast door hacking in the place of Sam, who we really should be prioritizing their rests. Lane is getting a bit sad as well, so we'll send him back for the time being. The next room has chem fuel, and we'll have Kiko prioritize hacking the next couple of doors. The chem fuel will be opened by the rest of the squad. I'm hoping these places will provide a decent amount of chem fuel. It should make up for the lack of trees. I know it won't completely cover our costs, but as long as it makes up about 20% of what we use, it's fine. There is a turret, unfortunately, in the next room. It shouldn't deal too much damage through the shield belt, but the hunter drone is the main issue. Okay. We need to evacuate that room immediately. Kiko may be in a spot of trouble as well. He's gonna have to fight his way out through the turret. Everyone else isn't in too bad shape. But I think they should probably leave for the day. Wait, what band off? Oh, just a big toe. Okay, with the fire burnt out, he can actually retreat through the previous room. I completely forgot that those were classed as flammable still. I thought they were just ruins, but no. They were still active, which wasn't great. We'll have to be more careful about stuff like that in future then. Luckily, while the injuries were over quite a few people, it's not very severe at all. And they should be healed up within a day or half a day. Kiko has recovered from the flu, or at least they've gained immunity. And having them tend to tree means that everyone has now been healed. And with waiting for them to heal now being a priority, instead of going back into the facility, I will likely end today's episode here. So thank you for watching. I hope you're enjoying the series so far. If you are, I'd really appreciate it if you could like or subscribe. It helps me know that you're enjoying the content I produce, and that I should continue producing the series. Thanks again, and I'll hopefully see you next time. Goodbye.